This morning I was looking at an article posted by Patrick Henningsen of 24th Century Wire, a very good alternative news site. And Patrick made the same mistake, and I like Patrick, he's a good guy, but Patrick made the same mistake so many people make, that they confuse paganism with Satanism, and they're confusing this sort of Wiccan fad in America, particularly, with traditional paganism. And it's unfortunate because pagans have been stigmatized for thousands of years by Christians and Muslims, and now it's sort of like happening again. But there was also a lot of hope in the response. The vast majority of people who responded to his article and statement said, no, Satanism and paganism are different things. And that's something, a few years ago it would have been all these kind of Christian truthers losing their minds, thinking that, the ones who are all afraid of one eye and triangles, all these hysterical nut jobs, would be all screaming Satanism, devil worship, satanic foil, child worship. And it's good to see that many people are actually in the alternative scene maturing, but it's still a battle that we're going to be facing for a while to come, especially as they're going to try and say things like, well, Christianity as we know it today isn't real Christianity, we should go back to the Essenes and all this kind of thing. Well, the Essenes were a bunch of nutcases. They were a Jonestown type cult who didn't care about anyone. They were just fanatical Jews, and to call them even Christians is, people just get these romantic ideas in their heads, and it's bullshit. They were fanatical Jews, just like Jesus Christ was a fanatical Jew. He had he was a Jewish fanatic, IDF level fanatic, and all these people who claim to be loving Jesus but anti-Israel. Jesus Christ was the first Zionist when you think about it. Now, so they don't know. They get all these romantic notions, and they forget that the early Christianity was a monstrous institution of mass murder and slaughter and intolerance, and it's been the same ever since. You had the Pope a few weeks ago telling Europeans that they must accept Sharia law, but don't go back to paganism. This is how powerful pagan is. This is why you're encouraged to believe it's evil, folks. Those of you who think you're woken up, this is why paganism it terrifies them. Why? Because Christianity is the new world order. Believe it or not, that's the religion they use to bring everyone together. Love thy brother, we are all one. Turn the other cheek and become a weak simpleton. This kind, love thy enemy. Jesus, what a sick thing that is, and so on. And this is why cults, both religious and political, love Christianity. And now Christianity is failing, so they're trying to give us Islam instead. But the Pope is absolutely terrified of paganism, as are many other people. Why? Because paganism is the real path to truth. What does paganism believe? That nature is sacred and should be venerated, and that the real spirituality of a human being is the mysteries of, it's so windy today, even inside the roundhouse it's getting in, that the mysteries of the spirituality itself is the mysteries of the cosmos and human psychology and human consciousness. That's it. That's all it is. Everything else from that is superfluous. You can go any way you want. There's Celtic paganism, there's Nordic paganism, there's Iberian paganism, there's paganism in the Middle East. The Judaism just comes from Canaanite paganism, the worship of the god El, and so on. It's just changed when the time the Abrahamics came along, which is where the real problem lies. And that's why, there's no difference between jihad and crusade. They both mean the same thing: kill the heretic. That's why Judaism is the best of the three religions, because it does not evangelize. It leaves people alone. It does not try to force them by the sword. Christianity and paganism and Islam does, and still does. And that's what the Pope is trying to do with telling you all this Jesuit Jesuit they have in charge is telling you to become Muslim, because that's part of the crusade, part of jihad. It's the same evangelical nonsense for the same demon biblical God Jehovah. So it was heartening to see so many people say, "Oh, how dare you! Or it's wrong. You shouldn't do that. It's not fair to compare pagans to Satanists." I have no problem with Satanism at all. I think it's a much healthier path for people to go down than Christianity. It's just that people don't know what Satanism is. They think it's all blood sacrifice. No, all the mass murders and all the killing is done by Christians and Muslims mainly. So get that out of your head. Paganism is just, Satanism is just two types of Satanism. I said it before, but just in case you've seen the video for the first time. There's LaVey Satanism, which is basically a corruption of the Catholic Tridentine Mass from the 1960s, which is basically a humanist, atheistic approach. And then there's the kind of like the other kind of religious Satanism, which is kind of like, again, the same thing, but it believes in a spiritual mandate, where LaVey Satanism is atheistic or agnostic in focus. But that's still much healthier than going, oh, Jesus Christ, man from the Middle East. You know, my ancestors, most of your ancestors won't have been from the Middle East, so why are you worshipping a Middle Eastern god? It really comes down to that. But again, it's win some, lose some. But we are winning. We are winning. I mean, I was supposed to. I mean, for every person who thinks a Miley Cyrus video is satanic, or a Madonna music video, beautiful music video like Frozen, is about summoning the demons, there's more people who are getting intelligent and walking away from all that mindless nonsense and thinking for themselves. They're like, they've woken up the second time. The first time they've woken up to things like mind control and social engineering done through music videos, and then they wake up the second time and realise that the whole thing of it, music videos being satanic, is bullshit as well. And then they go on and just realise that it's just stupid entertainment trying to sell records. But paganism is the future. I will own your children, and pagans like me will own your children and grandchildren. They will not worship a rotting man on a stick in the Middle East. They will not bow down to Second Temple Rabbinical Judaism that currently calls itself Christianity, and they will restore the pagan rites and traditions of their European and other native ancestors around the world, to return what they were meant to be, in order to demolish this one world control through one world religions such as Islam and Christianity, down to an individual bespoke personal engagement with the natural forces of the universe in terms of a spiritual dimension that honors both nature themselves, their psychology, their personality and their consciousness. No more Bibles, it's all over, it's done. The Pope is history, the Vatican, it'll just be, this is why they're embracing Islam. They're on their last legs in terms of, they're not, it's not that people are walking away from Catholicism and Christianity. New ones are not coming in. That's the problem for them. So the supply is being cut off. They're desperate to brown-nose Muslims and this kind of thing. But it's a zero-sum game. It's all over. And happy days, because when you give up on Christianity and even atheism, you give up on atheism and become a pagan, your life suddenly becomes much more richer, much more meaningful and much more enjoyable. And you're not in fear of greater forces anymore, because you know that there really is no greater force than yourself and your relationship with the cosmos. And if that isn't a beautiful thing and a way to live your life, then I don't know what is, folks. But the dead man on a stick never did us any favours. There's 800 babies in a septic tank in this country not far from here because of the dead man on a stick in the Middle East. We've had endless sectarian wars. We've had endless persecution of witches. It's not going to happen. Your God is dead. I killed him. People like me have killed him. He's not coming back. Long live the horned God.